This week, it was announced that Jake Paul versus Logan Paul will take place on March 27th, live streaming on Max. And as unlikely as it seems, this is fantastic news for All Elite Wrestling, who just started their latest TV deal with WBD, which includes simulcasting on the Max platform. And even though Logan Paul right now is a WWE contracted employee, it does seem like this will give AEW a necessary boost. That is, of course, if Max does the smart thing and actually promotes them on the platform. But will that happen? Will Tony Khan be able to get in on the action here and hopefully bring some new eyeballs to AEW through one of the most unlikely resources we could have ever foreseen? The massive Jake Paul versus Logan Paul fight. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling, and I'm going to break it all down. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, so as I said before, Jake Paul versus Logan Paul, arguably two of the biggest internet celebrities and two of the biggest celebrity boxers of all time, are set to face off on March 27th, 2025, in what will be likely one of the biggest spectacles in the history of professional boxing. We've seen both men have their own ventures individually as boxers, with Logan Paul in the past having fought the likes of Floyd, Money, Mayweather, and Jake coming off of his recent fight against Mike Tyson on Netflix, which broke several live streaming records for streaming platforms. And it looks like the creme de la creme, the biggest match that they could ever have, is going to happen. And it won't be in a WWE ring. It will, of course, be in what we can only assume their own venture. And it will happen on a platform that AEW is on. AEW in 2024 announced that they signed a multi-year contract to stay with WBD. That contract included Collision, Dynamite, every single week, both on TBS, TNT, and live streaming on Max. This deal also included the addition of previous AEW library content, such as pay-per-views and other live specials, over on the Max platform. And in addition to that, there's going to be several streaming events such as Grand Slam and AEW All In included on Max for free with the subscription. So all in all, that is a big deal. And if we are to make the connection here, it would be a no-brainer for AEW to be promoted by Max during this fight. We know that the boxing world and the pro wrestling world do have a good amount of crossover. Ironically enough, significantly more crossover than UFC and pro wrestling, and that is a phenomenon that needs to be discussed in its own separate video. But regardless, it is true that Max has a vested interest in not only making sure, obviously, that this fight between Jake Paul versus Logan Paul is something that I'm sure WWE, if given the opportunity, would have licked their chops at the opportunity to put this on and promote it. I'm sure that they want that to be a success, but for them, it's about more than just making sure people tune in. It's about what you use that time in between matches, in between fights, in between interviews to do. The bulk of your revenue, if you are Max, is coming from the advertising and the cross promotion you're able to do. I doubt that Max will find any problem, especially in this current media landscape, to find partners that are willing to advertise on their platform, especially for a fight of this magnitude that is likely going to break the internet. Just think about what this means. You have Jake Paul, Logan Paul, two brothers who grew up together creating content, who were celebrities before they became fighters, one of whom is a professional wrestler, who I'm sure there's going to be a bulk of wrestling fans tuning in to see this, who are familiar with Logan Paul because of his wrestling ventures. And that's why this makes perfect sense for Warner Brothers Discovery and Max to promote AEW on this show, on this special, during this fight. And this is not simply a plea with them to do it. It just makes business sense. If you're Warner Brothers Discovery, you just paid hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars to All Elite Wrestling, not only to have content on your channels and on Max, but to make sure people are watching those content and as many people as possible watch that content. So if you want to optimize that, if you want to get more eyeballs, get more interest, then it would make sense that you would cross promote across the platform. We've seen AEW do this with the likes of House of the Dragon or other ventures like Shark Week. But for them, I think Warner Brothers Discovery, it is time for them to take a step forward. This is now not just an entity that you have a partnership with. This is something you have a vested interest in seeing succeed. You don't just write that big of a check to something that you're gonna write off and not promote. No, this needs to be a success, especially in the current state that WBD is in, as their channel numbers and viewership on traditional cable television continues to dip at rates that even make industry standards look shameful. For them, it's critical to make sure that one of their hottest properties in live streaming in AEW is able to get more attention. And the best way to do that is by promoting AEW. And I would take it a step further and promote them in a different way. Have the AEW champion at ringside for this event, whether it's Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, whoever. You need to have a high profile face of AEW at this event. It can't just be Tony Khan. As much as I'm sure people love Tony over there, it can't just be him. You have an opportunity to not only be a part of something that, of course, Logan Paul is a part of wrestling, and there's going to be that crossover, but a pop culture phenomenon, a moment in pop culture. That is something that AEW has lacked throughout its entire run. There's a reason why WWE, in addition to the 40-plus year history it already has as an institution, is so far ahead of AEW. It's also because they are culturally relevant in a way that it's very difficult for AEW to be. And if you are AEW and you really want to get a bulk of that market share, if you want to get a bite at that apple, then a step forward to doing that is being there, being relevant, and being meaningful in these moments, and getting that credibility from other entities like Max. So there's obviously a business side of things that make this meaningful. Now, on the flip side, you of course have the fact that Logan Paul is a WWE contracted talent. And given the fact that we have heard rumblings as of recently that TKO, the parent company of World Wrestling Entertainment, is looking to get into boxing promotion, and we don't know yet just who will be promoting this fight along with the Paul brothers and their venture, there is the possibility that TKO could be promoting this fight. And if that does end up happening, which again, unconfirmed, a little bit of a conspiracy hat on I got, but if that does end up happening, it complicates things to no end, because I highly doubt that TKO or WWE would want to be promoting AEW content on that platform. But then again, if you're Warner Bros. Discovery and you own the platform, you want to do that. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Who knows what's going to end up happening? But one thing I can tell you is, if I'm Tony Khan, if I am the EVPs, if I'm whoever is up there in AEW, I am doing everything to be a part of the promotion. I am doing everything to be a good partner in this moment. And I'm doing everything to make sure that my best talent are there in the building to watch, be a part of, and hopefully be seen at this fight. But hey, who am I? Just a guy on YouTube. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this? Is this a chance for AEW to be more culturally relevant? Is there a way for them to capitalize on this? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And for more daily professional wrestling content, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.